Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. It is Monday, September 5th, 2011, Labor Day here in the United States. For those of you who are watching in the U.S., we celebrate our labor unions and the freedoms and rights that they gave us. All right, we're in Mark chapter 10, verse 35. And James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came up to him and said to him, Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you. And he said to them, What do you want me to do for you? And they said to him, Grant us to sit one at your right hand and one at your left in your glory. Jesus said to them, You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, or to be baptized with the baptism with which I am baptized? And they said to him, We are able. And Jesus said to them, The cup that I drink you will drink, and with the baptism with which I am baptized you will be baptized. But to sit at my right hand or at my left is not mine to grant, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared. And when the 10 heard it, they began to be indignant at James and John. And Jesus called them to him and said to them, You know that those who are considered rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. But it shall not be so among you. For whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. All right, what's going on here? You got two of the disciples, James and John, and they are in the inner circle. Peter, James, John, that's the inner circle of the three. They're the ones that went up with Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration. And they're asking Jesus if they can sit at his right hand and his left hand in glory. And Jesus says, okay, well, are you ready? Can you handle what I'm going to go through? Can you be baptized with the baptism I'm going to be baptized with? In other words, are you willing to die for your faith? And they say, yeah. And he said, okay, I know that. I know that about you guys already. Good job. He said, but that's not for me to do. That's my Father. So Jesus did not on earth have the authority to give those positions to anybody. Well, the other disciples were upset that they were even asking, probably because they were wanting the same thing. See, they were wanting authority, they were wanting power, they were wanting glory. And Jesus tells them something, and I got to tell you, it's convicting to me. He says, you know what greatness is? Greatness is in service. You want to be great in God's eyes, you want to be great in God's kingdom, you be a servant of all. You be a slave. He even uses the word slave to all. And he said the Son of Man, and he's talking about himself, the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Now, what is your life about? If it's not about serving others, you've got some priorities wrong. Serving God equals serving others. Do you understand that? We can serve God by honoring him with our lips and worshiping him and praising him, and that is part of it. But if there's not serving others, if that's not big in your life, you're really missing the crux of Jesus' teaching, and you're missing the crux of his example, because this is what he did all the time. You look throughout Jesus' life, he was constantly serving, and I am privileged to have two jobs in which I serve people for a living. But that's not really what Jesus is talking about there, and I enjoy serving. But he's talking about serving in his kingdom, and I think serving, if you have a job where you're serving, that's good, and God's happy with that, but also be looking for other ways to serve. And all that means is you say, God, here I am. Whatever you want me to do, please show me what I can do to help others. And then he will make it clear. There will be opportunity after opportunity for you to serve. And he will, if you ask him for wisdom, will even match you up where what your best opportunity is. In other words, what you're good at and what you enjoy doing, he will put those situations to serve. Now, you may be called to serve sometimes, though, in situations where you're not as comfortable or where you're not as good. But you still need to do it if there's a need there. In other words, you see a need, you decide you're going to meet it, or you're going to try to help somebody else meet it. Either serve. Here, we used to have this saying when I worked at Cracker Barrel. Either serve serve our guests or serve those who are serving our guests. All right? That's sort of a good way to apply it to yourself. Either serve people directly or serve those who are serving them and make their job easier to serve others. But anyway, no matter what you're doing, it's always about serving. So that's the key word today. If you want to be great, be a servant. Kind of goes against what we look at in the world, isn't it? But that's what is great in God's eyes. Come back tomorrow for the next edition of Take 5.